Hey guys, it's Robbie here, and this is FrekiFitWolf. So today's video is going to be a result from a Facebook question I posted. I asked my group if there were any particular topics that you would like me to talk about, because you guys know I love to research, I love to look things up and find out and understand things. If I can understand the whys and the hows, I can implement those methods a lot better. So a couple of you have posted about mindset and about emotional eating. Now, I did post a video about emotional eating before. I will put a link down below for that. But seeing those two in the comments, those are perfect to go together. So instead of just dealing with methods on how to deal with the emotional eating, I'm going to tie in the mindset of how to deal with emotional eating, because we ultimately have to change the way our minds work and the way we think and the setting that they are in order to proceed further on this journey. So stay tuned and I will tell you more about that. So first, two things that nobody likes to hear in the weight loss community. None of us do. I don't. I'm sure you guys don't. Nobody does. But two things about weight loss in general, but also dealing with emotional eating. And the first one is, it is going to take time. There is no miraculous instant cure where, boom, we never emotionally eat ever again. It's not going to happen. But it can happen over time, over a process of growing and changing and learning about ourselves, learning ways to deal with the different emotions and different things that can trigger binges or overeating or overindulging, whichever you'd like to call it. Over time, we can learn how to deal with those things and train ourselves to do so. The other word is hard. It's not easy. Just like it's not going to miraculously happen overnight, it's not going to happen smoothly and easily and boom, things are just great. It's not. I have done this all before, and yet I gained it all back. I have hit numerous bumps in the road, including one very recently, which I'll talk about in a minute, and I'm still learning. I'm still growing. The same thing's going to happen for all of you. It is never going to be super easy, but with enough dedication and commitment, it can happen. We will get to the bodies that we want, the health that we want, the mindset that we want. We just have to work hard for it. Now, with this, one thing that I want you guys all to commit to memory, I probably should do a meme of the week with this, and I still might, but imperfection does not mean failure. I want you to really hold on to that. Imperfection does not mean failure. So we will hit bumps in the road. We will mess up. We will get neglectful. All of that stuff. All of it is going to happen, but that does not mean we failed. It got hard. And like I said, it's going to take time and it's going to be hard, but that doesn't mean we failed. That means we pick ourselves back up, we dust ourselves off, and we keep going. With that in mind, I totally had an episode. Let's just call it that. If you guys have been watching my videos lately, you probably noticed that I said several times that it has been hard. It has been very hard to resist urges, and I finally caved and did. And that is why pimple going on right here, dried cracked lips going on here, face swollen. Like, I've tried really hard getting a different angle. Yeah, no, that's just how swollen my face is right now. So it happened. But like I said, I'm not dwelling on it. I am not becoming upset. I'm not thinking that I quit or that I failed. It is part of life. It happens. I'm not going to love my way in this week, but it's part of life. I'm moving on. I'm going forward. I'm learning from this experience. Because what I've learned, two things. One, I mentioned on my way in on Sunday, that because I was paranoid about the overeating, I wasn't eating enough. I was saving points and saving calories so that in case it happened that night, I would have the points. It made sense at the time. Obviously, it's not real, but it made sense at the time. And instead, I never actually binged last week or overate, and I just underfed myself. So basically, a week of underfeeding myself leads to some bad decisions. The other thing is, I was so focused on not wanting to overeat, not wanting to binge, that I wasn't dealing with the reason why I was wanting to. I should have watched my own video about it. You have to deal with the problems. You have to figure out the reasons. So for me, I'm not going to get into details, but things have been a little rough for me lately. I've had a lot going on. Things have been hard. And also, my friends have been having a hard time. I'm not going to get into details of their lives either, because if they watch my videos, it'd be rude. But there has been illnesses. There have been deaths. There have been relationship issues, breakups, physical and mental abuse. There's been a lot going on. And I posted that on my personal Facebook page, and a lot of my other friends were saying, you've got to pull yourself away from those situations and not, you got to take care of yourself, which is very, very true. I'm not saying that that's not. But in my particular case, I'm not the person that people go to all the time. I'm not the person that is dealing with other people's problems on a weekly or monthly or even sometimes yearly basis. It's just that they all reached out basically since 2020 started. And so within the last 6 weeks or so, there's been a lot going on. And I am a very empathetic type of person. So I take those emotions into myself and I'm not dealing with them. I wasn't dealing with them. So that, combined with being undernourished, led to a binge this week. Fun. So where do we go from there? Well, especially after seeing the topics you guys wanted to talk about, I started doing some research into maybe something else we can change mentally besides just physical changes. And I came across the ironic process theory. So basically, it's also known as the white bear theory. It states that its deliberate attempts to suppress thoughts ultimately make them stronger. So for example, let's just do a little dry run. Don't think about a white bear. Don't picture a white bear. Don't picture a white bear in the snow. Don't picture a white bear fishing for salmon. Just keep all thoughts of a white bear out of your head. Are you thinking of a white bear now? That's exactly what it does. So when we apply this to weight loss or emotional eating or binging, I can definitely see why it led to where it led. So I was sitting there wanting to overeat. So I'm telling myself, don't overeat. Don't go in the kitchen. Don't make all that pasta. Don't go through the fridge. Don't eat random slices of cheese. Don't grab everything that you can that is edible and pour it down your gullet. I'm focusing on all the things that I don't want to do, which makes those thoughts and those actions even stronger in my head. And then that leads to making it very hard to resist, and to the point where it's painful to resist. Because now you're just sitting there and you're just obsessed with it. It's this vicious cycle. And that totally made sense to me because that is literally what I just went through. Sorry, my microphone randomly cut out in the middle of recording that video. So the next 10 minutes was just me talking with no sound. So I'm going to try to pick up and cover what I had said and go from there. So like I said, I literally had just gone through that created this binge that just happened. And yeah, it was an eye-opener. So from there, it's where you start thinking, okay, so what do I do about that? How do I stop that cycle from happening? This is where you've got to work on your mindset, where I've got to work on my mindset. Instead of focusing on the things that I cannot have, start focusing on the things that I can have. So instead, for example, like I have some boxes of pasta in the kitchen. Instead of focusing on, I can't make that pasta, I can't make those noodles, I can't have that. Instead, focus on what I can have. I can have the vegetables that I have in there. I can make a stir fry. I can have that turkey kielbasa stir fry that I've made before. I can choose to have those for my health, for my well-being, to avoid all this stuff going on my face. I can have that. I want to have that. And focusing on that definitely helps keep from focusing on the things that I can't have and kind of stops that cycle from happening, if that makes sense to you guys. Don't focus on what you can't have. Focus on what you can have. From there, I do want to cover, the next step would be find your reasons for these moments, for these binges, for these overindulgences, for why we want to do those things that we want to do. A lot of times, obviously, emotions, a huge one. Another one can be overeating or undereating, like I had dealt with. And then also there's two other ones. Like boredom is a huge one for me, was a huge one for me. Luckily, not too often anymore. And then also lack of whole vitamin, nutrient-rich foods is another factor that we need to consider. So breaking these down. So first of all, emotional hunger. Like I said, I found the source of why I was feeling so emotional, why I was craving bad foods instead of dealing with the emotions. So once I figured out the cause, then it's easier to process. So in my case, it is a lot of the things are things I can't do much about. I can be a listening ear. I can help with that in that manner. And some of my personal stuff, got to deal with it, basically. So without using my examples or my friends' examples, let's say you have an issue at work. You have a coworker that drives you crazy. It makes your life miserable while being there. So after dealing with that person all day at work, you go home and you binge or you eat things you should not eat. And you've got to deal with the actual problem. The food's not going to solve it. It's not going to make the relationship between you two any better. So you've got to address that issue, whether that be going to that person and talking to them head on, like, hey, what can we do to resolve this or change this or work on this? Or B, going to a supervisor. Or C, even an ultimate. It can be very hard and there can be a ton of factors, but it could be a matter of changing jobs or changing positions. Every situation, there is something that can be done. You could be broke. You could be struggling financially. That is something I've dealt with a lot in my life. And that is when you can start considering what you can do about it. Get a second job, get a different job, whatever the case may be, you've got to address that, because also eating food, it's taking more money than not eating the food. So that's not helping the situation at all. And if there's, friends issues or relationship issues, a lot of times it is reaching out to another friend and talking to them about it. And sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes a lot of us don't like putting that burden on other people. I am very guilty of that. I am pretty open with my friends, but at the same time, I don't typically like to overshare or put my burden on them, because I like being more the caretaker. In that case, there are paid professionals, there are therapists, and there are affordable ones, despite different income levels, that you can go to, and they are super, super helpful, especially because sometimes these emotional situations aren't solely because of a specific tangible reason. Sometimes they are a mental issue that is going on that needs to be addressed, and therapy helps. Therapy works. It is very, very important and not something that you should just not want to do. If it is something that is to that level, I think if it's something that is affecting your life, if it is making you eat a bunch of food, that is when you do need help. So it's okay to do that. So that's the emotional. Boredom hunger. Luckily, I do not deal with this issue that often anymore, but that used to be my number one reason for eating. So with that, that's when you develop hobbies, especially hobbies that involve using your hands and your mind. because that takes a lot more focus than hobbies like watching TV. So with your hands and mind being occupied, like that's what I do, I've been doing some cross stitch or doing some diamond art or puzzles, whatever can take your focus, that will help. If you are wanting to just watch TV, feel free to do that. There are plenty of amazing movies and television shows out there, but your habits of eating while watching, you gotta think about that. A minor thing that does help a lot is chewing gum. Your mouth is being occupied. You're getting flavors in your mouth without getting a bunch of calories. So that can help a lot. And another one, cleaning. Like, it sounds silly, but seriously, I don't care who you are, there's always something that needs to be cleaned. Especially if you're like me and you have animals. You could have swept that morning. I can guarantee you need to sweep again. Scrub the bathroom, scrub this, whatever needs to be done, there's always something that needs to be done in that manner. And that's kind of a double win because your place looks better, it's healthier to live in, and you're not focused on food. So different things like that can help with the boredom hunger. Now, the undereating, obviously, if your body is not getting enough nutrients to run and function, it will make you want to binge because you're being deprived. And so that mentally and physically will make you want to grab everything because your body is needing it. When your body starts getting undernourished, you start craving everything just because it's like, what will you do to give me what I need? Just give me, fine, crave that. I don't care if it's ice cream. I need something. So making sure that you have the proper nutrients in your body helps a lot. And then also sometimes it can be water. A lot of times I don't know the feeling of being thirsty. I know the physical signs of being thirsty. When my lips start drying out, when my knees start getting inky or my calves start getting inky. Things like that. And then the doorbell goes off. I swear this video is very hard to make today, guys. So the last section I want to talk about is the lack of whole foods or nutrient-rich foods. That can really cause an urge to overeat. This is the physical side of things. It's a little sciencey. Hopefully I can explain it so that it makes sense. So basically think about back in the olden days when we were hunters and gatherers. There was not a lot of options around. We hunted meat and we gathered grains and food for our bodies. And that is because our bodies need protein and carbs and fiber and fats. And it needs healthy versions of them. But the thing is, our brain only knows to crave them. And so when we grab something nowadays, it's not just living off the land. We have so many options. We have the processed foods. We have the deep fried foods. We have the baked goods, the desserts, the ice cream, all that type of stuff. And they're all very, very tasty, but they are not filled with just the nutrients we need. And the thing is, our brain knows it needs them. It doesn't know good fats from bad fats. It doesn't know good sugars from bad sugars. It just knows we need them. So if we take a piece of pizza and we put it in our mouths and eat it, our brain gets excited. It's like, all right, cool. I'm getting the energy I need. The sugar, the carbs. I need all of that. Great. But the thing is, because that is filled with so many other things than just the nutrients we need, there's not enough in that one piece of pizza to get everything we need. So our brain's like, we need more of that. Give me more, give me more, give me more. Next thing you know, you've eaten an entire pizza, even though you're stuffed, because your body is still craving the nutrients it needs to run, to have better skin, not this stuff, to function on a daily basis. Now, if we took a more well-rounded plate filled with like chicken and avocado and vegetables, that type of stuff that is all really have everything that we need, all the fibers and the proteins and the carbs and the fats that we need, then we can have less of it because we're getting all of the nutrients we need. So we can get the nutrients without the ton of calories and all the fillers. So basically, I might lose you guys here, but it made sense to me to clarify it in my head. It is like when you take a bottle of shampoo. You have salon quality shampoo. It is all good stuff in there. It is what we need, and it is perfect for washing our hair. But if you take a grocery store brand, Prel or I don't know, whatever you buy from the grocery store, it is filled with a bunch of fillers so that they can mass produce it and sell it to all the grocery stores so that it can get everywhere and so that it can be cheap so that you can buy it anywhere. Now those fillers dilute it, and so you end up having to use more shampoo. You're putting a dollop of shampoo in your hand to wash your hair because of all of those fillers that are just taking up space. They're creating more volume, just like the empty calories of that pizza is taking up more space than just the nutrients that we need. Versus when you take a good bottle of shampoo, Redken, for example, you only need a dime size to wash all of your hair because it is just the things that you need for your hair. Same thing with that other plate of food that had all the nutrient-rich foods. You don't need as much of it because it contains all of the vitamins and the nutrients and the energy that your body needs to sustain itself. Does that make sense? Me being a hair guy, that helped clarify it for me a lot. So hopefully it did for you. All right, so now I think between all of the different videos I've had to record, I think this has gone on long enough. Hopefully this helps you guys. Let me know if this helps you guys. These things, the whole food focus and the, what's it called again? The ironic process theory helped me a lot, and I think will definitely help me in the future when I start getting cravings. So hopefully I won't have those weeks where I'm saying, guys, it was really hard this week. All I could think of was food, and I was trying my darndest to stay out of there, and eventually I'm going to get in there. So hopefully that will help me, and hopefully it helps you. Comment down below. Let me know if it does help you. Please like my video, and please subscribe and share my video if you think it would be helpful to other people, despite all the craziness that happened. If it is your first time here, sorry. Normally things go a little bit smoother than this video did. And so until Thursday, when I do my motivational meme of the week, I'll talk to you guys later.